Welcome to Curiosity, the podcast where science meets wonder. Join us as we explore the fascinating, the innovative, and the unexpected, from the secrets of the cosmos to the marvels of everyday life. Each episode takes you on a journey to uncover the knowledge and stories that fuel our endless quest for understanding. Let your curiosity guide you.
Chasing the clock, the mystery and magic of time. Time, as we experience it, is an abstract and often elusive concept. It is not a physical object we can touch or directly perceive, yet it profoundly influences everything in our lives. From the rising and setting of the sun to the ticking of a clock, time is woven into the fabric of existence, shaping everything from the grandest cosmic events to the smallest moments of our personal experiences. But what exactly is time? To some, it's a simple progression of events, a sequence of cause and effect. To others, it's a deep and mysterious force that governs the universe in ways we can barely comprehend. At its most basic level, time seems to be something we measure in terms of past, present, and future. The past is behind us, its moments having already unfolded and become memories. The future lies ahead, an endless, unknown realm that we can only imagine or predict. The present, however, is fleeting, constantly slipping away as soon as we attempt to grasp it. In many ways, the present feels like a narrow sliver of reality, always moving forward and forever slipping into the past before we can fully experience it. This makes time feel paradoxical in nature, always moving forward, but also constantly evading direct capture. Philosophers have long pondered whether time is something that exists independently of human perception or if it's merely a construct of the mind, a way for us to organize our experiences. Some theories argue that time is an intrinsic property of the universe itself, a fundamental element that exists whether or not there are conscious beings to witness it. Others contend that time is an invention of human thought, a framework we've created to make sense of the sequence of events we experience in our daily lives. Despite the differing perspectives, most people agree that time is a continuous, flowing force that shapes all existence, even if we don't fully understand its nature. In the physical sciences, time is often treated as a measurable quantity. In classical physics, it was seen as an unchanging backdrop to the events of the universe. Time was simply something that passed, like a river flowing steadily from one moment to the next. But with the advent of Einstein's theory of relativity, our understanding of time began to shift. Time was no longer a rigid, universal constant. Instead, it was revealed to be relative, dependent on the observer's speed and position in space. The famous thought experiment of twin paradoxes illustrates this beautifully. One twin traveling near the speed of light will experience time differently from the twin who remains on Earth. Time, it turns out, is not the absolute, unyielding force we once imagined it to be. It is fluid, flexible, and deeply tied to the fabric of the universe itself. Beyond the realm of science, time also plays a central role in the way we structure our lives. Our daily routines are governed by clocks, schedules, and calendars. We divide our lives into chunks, seconds, minutes, hours, days, and years, measuring the passage of time as if it were a resource to be managed. The pressure to use time wisely is often a source of anxiety, as people rush from one activity to the next, always trying to make the most of each moment. In this sense, time can feel like a commodity, something to be spent, saved, or wasted. But despite the constant flow of time, we are often keenly aware of how quickly it passes. Birthdays, anniversaries, and milestones remind us that time is both a marker of change and a reminder of our own mortality. We often speak of time in terms of loss, lamenting the moments that slip away without our full appreciation or the opportunities that we let pass us by. Even as we attempt to control and measure time, it remains a mystery. It moves in one direction, forward, yet we struggle to fully understand its nature. Some have even speculated that time could be cyclical, repeating itself in endless loops or cycles. Others believe that time could be an illusion, a product of the way our minds perceive change. There are theories that suggest time may be an emergent property, a result of complex interactions within the universe, or that it might not even exist in the way we understand it? Could time be a deeply ingrained aspect of consciousness, something that only exists because we perceive it? Or is it an objective feature of the universe, existing independent of our minds, something that governs the structure of all reality? In the search for understanding, one of the most perplexing aspects of time is how we experience it subjectively. Time, it seems, is not simply a constant, impersonal force. It is something that is deeply intertwined with human consciousness. Our perception of time is often distorted by our emotions, attention, and the way we engage with the world around us. For example, when we are engaged in an activity that captivates us, whether it's a hobby, a deep conversation, or even watching a movie, time seems to slip by unnoticed. On the other hand, when we are bored or waiting for something, time feels agonizingly slow, each second stretching on indefinitely. This fluidity of time perception suggests that our experience of time is not purely objective, but is shaped by the rhythms of our mind and the nature of our surroundings. Psychologists and neuroscientists have long studied how the brain perceives time. It is not entirely clear how the brain measures time, but many studies suggest that our internal sense of time, our biological clock, is influenced by several factors. One of the most fascinating aspects of this is how different intervals of time are perceived. Research has shown that we are generally good at estimating short periods of time, like a few seconds or minutes. But when it comes to longer stretches, our accuracy diminishes. For instance, a span of an hour might feel shorter when we are fully immersed in something enjoyable or important, yet it can feel endless if we are stuck in a monotonous or uncomfortable situation. This phenomenon hints at the complex relationship between the mind and time, a relationship that is not purely about a fixed, measurable entity, but rather one that is subjective and influenced by our mental state. Even our memory plays a role in how we perceive time. The way we remember the past can affect how we feel about the time that has passed. Moments that were rich in emotion or significance tend to stand out in our memory, creating the illusion that time moved more slowly. In contrast, periods of routine or inactivity might blur together in our minds, making them feel like they passed in the blink of an eye. This subjective experience of time is often linked to our sense of identity and personal history. The more intense or important an experience is, the more time seems to slow down during that moment. In retrospect, the passage of time may feel compressed, as if those meaningful moments stand out in stark relief against the backdrop of everyday life. While our perception of time is malleable, the idea of its direction is another fascinating aspect. We live in a world where time seems to flow in one direction, forward. We grow older, seasons change, and events unfold in a linear progression. This sense of arrow of time, as it is often called, is a fundamental feature of our existence. Yet, this forward-moving nature of time is a puzzle that scientists and philosophers continue to grapple with. In the realm of physics, time's direction is tied to the second law of thermodynamics, which states that entropy, or disorder, tends to increase over time. In simple terms, things naturally progress from a state of order to a state of disorder. This gives time its unidirectional flow, moving from the past into the future. However, in the realm of quantum mechanics, the story becomes more complicated. At the subatomic level, particles appear to behave in ways that do not necessarily follow the same rules we observe in the macroscopic world. The concept of time in quantum mechanics is often described as time reversible, meaning that the fundamental laws governing particles are not inherently time-bound. This suggests that, at least at the most fundamental level, time may not always follow the strict linear path we experience in our everyday lives. While this doesn't necessarily imply that we could travel backward in time, it challenges our traditional understanding of time as a one-way street. In addition to the ongoing scientific and philosophical debates, many cultures have their own interpretations and understandings of time. In Western society, time is often treated as a linear progression, marked by deadlines, appointments, and an emphasis on productivity. The future is something to be planned for, and the past is something to be remembered, often with the goal of learning from it. However, in many indigenous cultures, time is seen as cyclical, with a strong emphasis on the interconnectedness of all things. These cultures often view time not as something that moves forward, but as something that is part of a greater, repeating cycle of life, death, and rebirth. In such views, time is less about linear progression and more about the continuity and rhythm of existence. The cyclical view of time has profound implications for how we live and interact with the world. In cultures with this perspective, events and seasons are not just things that happen, they are part of a larger, eternal rhythm. Time is not something to be conquered or mastered, but something to be respected and embraced. This contrasts with the Western, linear view, where time is often seen as something to be managed efficiently, with an ever-increasing sense of urgency. The cyclical view allows for a different kind of relationship with time, one that values presence over productivity and understands the inevitable ebb and flow of existence. Moreover, many religious traditions incorporate unique perspectives on time. In Christianity, for example, time is often understood in terms of salvation history, where human history is viewed as a narrative that moves toward a divine end. Similarly, in Hinduism, the concept of Kalachakra, or the wheel of time, illustrates a cyclical view of time that repeats in endless cycles of creation, preservation, and dissolution. These spiritual perspectives offer rich ways of thinking about time that go beyond its material or scientific definitions. Time is not just an abstraction to be measured, but a spiritual and metaphysical force that can shape the course of human existence. As we attempt to grapple with the enigma of time, one of the more profound questions is how time influences our sense of self and the world around us. We live our lives within the framework of time, marking our existence with the passage of days, years, and decades. Yet, this very experience of time shapes how we understand who we are and how we relate to others. Time, for better or worse, is an integral part of our identity, not just in the sense of chronology but in the way it structures our thoughts, memories, and aspirations. The experience of growing older, for instance, is intrinsically tied to our awareness of time. Aging is often seen as the most tangible reminder of time's relentless flow. As we age, the changes in our bodies and minds become markers of time's passage. But time also influences how we look at our lives in retrospect. Memories of childhood, young adulthood, and different stages of life are organized in temporal sequences that help us define ourselves. The stories we tell about who we are built upon these markers, and in this way, time is not just a background feature but a shaping force in the construction of our identities. Time also plays a crucial role in how we form relationships with others. Human interaction is often defined by the shared experience of time, whether it's spending years together, marking milestones like birthdays and anniversaries, or facing the inevitable separations caused by time's passage. The bonds we form with others are often measured in time, and the experiences we share create a mutual sense of temporal connection. Our lives intertwine with the lives of others through shared moments and experiences that are bound by time. In some cases, the very act of remembering someone or something links us to the past, reinforcing the idea that time, while constantly moving forward, can also be experienced through memories and relationships. Yet, time also has a more abstract role in shaping our understanding of the universe. In many ways, our perception of time reflects how we interpret the world itself. The scientific view of time as a fourth dimension, intertwined with space to form the fabric of spacetime, offers a mind-bending way of thinking about our place in the cosmos. The idea that time is relative, that it can stretch or contract depending on our position or velocity, fundamentally challenges our everyday sense of reality. This theory, first posited by Einstein's relativity, tells us that the passage of time is not uniform, it varies according to gravitational fields and the speed at which an object is moving. Time is no longer simply a ticking clock but a malleable feature of the universe that responds to the physical conditions around it. For those who explore the cosmos, time takes on even greater dimensions. In space exploration, for example, time dilation, the slowing of time relative to those on Earth due to high speeds or intense gravity, becomes an essential consideration. The longer someone spends traveling at near light speed, the more slowly time passes for them compared to those left behind. This concept is not only fascinating from a theoretical standpoint but has real-world implications for astronauts traveling in space. A journey to the stars might involve time for the travelers that would not align with the timeline of those they left behind. The prospect of time travel, though still speculative, has sparked the imagination of scientists and philosophers alike, as it challenges our very understanding of time's linearity. Could time be traversed backward or forward? Is time just another dimension to be navigated, like space? These questions stretch the limits of our current understanding and open up vast realms of possibility. Despite these mind-bending theories, on a human scale, we remain bound by the passing of days, the ticking of the clock, and the awareness of time's unrelenting progression. Our daily lives unfold in ways that we cannot escape. Even with all the ways we try to capture time, measure it, or conceptualize it, we remain subject to its laws. There is no escaping the fact that we are constantly moving forward in time, one moment after the next. Yet, this very passage of time is what makes life meaningful. It is what gives us the urgency to act, to love, to create, and to leave a mark on the world. It is the awareness of time's passage that impels us to make the most of the time we have. This urgency, however, can also lead to anxiety. Our fear of running out of time, of not accomplishing everything we hope for, can be a powerful motivator but also a source of stress. The societal emphasis on productivity and achievement often forces people to view time as something to be optimized, something to be used up before it runs out. This approach can rob time of its beauty, its ability to be experienced simply, as a moment of stillness or presence. It is easy to forget that time is not just something to be spent or saved, it is something to be felt, to be lived in its fullest. There is a paradox at the heart of our experience of time. The more we try to control it or rush through it, the more it seems to slip away. This tension between living in time and understanding its inevitable passage has led some to look for ways to transcend time altogether. Various spiritual and philosophical traditions offer different ways to cope with the fear of time's passing. Some advocate for mindfulness, an approach to life that encourages living fully in the present moment, free from the burdens of past regrets or future anxieties. In this view, time becomes less of an enemy to be conquered and more of a space to be experienced deeply. The practice of meditation, for example, invites individuals to step outside the constraints of linear time, to experience the eternal now, and to let go of the need for constant movement forward. As our understanding of time continues to evolve, one thing remains clear: time is both a gift and a challenge. It is a gift because it allows us to experience life in all its complexity, to grow, to love, and to create meaning. It is a challenge because it is fleeting, because we can never hold on to it, and because we are constantly aware of its passing. In the end, perhaps the true mystery of time lies not in its nature, but in how we choose to live within it. Time, in all its forms, shapes our existence, and in that shaping, it offers us the opportunity to become more aware of the preciousness of each moment. So, while time may remain an enigma, it is undeniably a central feature of the human condition. Whether we understand it as a force of nature, a psychological construct, or a spiritual phenomenon, time continues to guide our lives in profound and mysterious ways. We may never fully understand what time truly is, but we continue to dance with it, trying to make sense of its passage, and in doing so, we create meaning in the limited moments we have. Time is the canvas on which we paint our lives, and even though it is an ephemeral, ever-moving river, it is that very flow that gives our existence its urgency, its beauty, and its depth.